Hello, Helen.
Hi, Rob. 1.5 days to go. We can do this.
I love it. It's very exciting. And after last week's mad scramble to do report comments.
But how many people looked and how many views did we have?
It was so exciting because we actually helped a lot of people. I love that.
I hope so. I hope they used all our advice, which was great. So today we want you to not worry about next term. And so we want to tell you what we've got ready for you for those grades for term 2. That Coach in the Class is going to assist you in getting ready for term 2. So let's hit it, Rob. Sam, Tammy, Jim are back exploring Jim's old house. And what really happens is in the bottom of his house, there's a cellar with 3 doors. And each of them goes through one of those doors. And obviously Sam does the whole matter and material, the communication, the history, and Tammy delves into all the map skills for geography.
Oh, sounds so exciting.
So Sam lands up in this cave under the ground, and there's a river in the middle that separates him from a pile of solid gold coins, think matter and material.
Love it.
And there's cardboard and old metal boxes, think material. And eventually the liquid for the river, the steam that you can see in the background, the solid of the cave, he manages to build a bridge, which is what they do in grade 4, to get across the river to fetch those lovely coins.
I love how all the aspects are incorporated into the story.
So that's exactly what we do. And of course, all the worksheets are there to help you. And of course, all the lesson notes. But this is a geography lesson note where Tammy is going to look at perspective. She's going to look at symbols, map skills, and then some maps later on. So this is her looking at things from different viewpoints. What is that? Oh my gosh, it's someone's helmet. And this, well, I think it's given away a little bit. It's a cup. So there's these whole perspectives. And then, of course, the kids must draw them themselves. And there's a lovely realization of what's going down.
Excellent. And then the grade 4 history is all about communication through time. And once again, we're trying to develop skills of summarizing, research, taking material from one or material and matter. Taking information from one source and putting it into your own words.
This is a lovely tree map here.
Yeah. So we often use thinking maps. And then moving on, we've also got something very exciting for teachers.
So we have created a whole booklet for you. Say this is the grade 4 communication through time. We show you exactly what is going on in those 8 weeks. Then we give you the lesson note, and then we show you what worksheets or resources will be used in this lesson. And it goes on to the next lesson, and each time we're giving you the resources so that you get a feel of what you're going to be teaching this week.
So it's a good hard copy of
everything
the whole
that you're
unit.
going to need. Even the test here, if you wanted to print it for ZTech, but we hope you're going to do it online so that it's self-marking.
And then, of course, we've always got memos and pointers and resources all incorporated into that.
Absolutely. So that was looking at the grade 4 history book, but they all now have books.
Yes. And then also in the history, always a hook question. We love our question hooks. I love this one. How do you think we will communicate in 50 years' time? I love that question. And it's, as we discussed it in a past episode, is to stimulate that classroom discussion and hook the children into the lesson.
And to appreciate their knowledge, because they have knowledge. They're not just bricks in the wall. They really would love to contribute.
Yeah.
So this is still the grade 4 lesson where they are doing, I think, looking at the post office here, but the post office is sort of redundant now. So we've taken it into codes, and your hook question there was?
What other use could we have for the post office in a modern context?
Because it's not happening anymore. So this is where Coach in the Class are up to date, and we can change our work whereas textbooks can't.
And actually that's what we have done. We've upgraded.
Version 2.0.
Exactly.
This is what's taking us the time to get it all out there. So this we took and made an exciting escape room where you had to answer all sorts of questions.
And then the grade 6 history for term 2 is all about the explorers discovering Southern Africa. And what we've really tried to do here is make it relevant to today's terms again. And we look at the VOC in terms of a company like Apple, which the children all know.
And Apple looks minuscule there compared to that powerful, mighty VOC. And it just gives you an idea of the power that they had at that time.
No, totally. And what's actually what they achieved with that power.
Yes.
And then we look at the life of these poor sailors of the VOC, and the terrible conditions they lived under. And then we try and solve a problem using a creative thinking tool
to
called
reinvent
BAR.
that whole boat to make it a little bit more pleasant,
livable. And in fact, part of the challenge was that the children are allowed to, or is that the children are allowed to use modern knowledge to solve this old problem, but they're not allowed to use modern technology. So they can use the knowledge, for example, that fresh vegetables and vitamin C will stave off scurvy, but they can't, dish out Calcivitas.
or drop them in water. Yeah, but
Exactly.
they could have dried those oranges and stored them in the barrels instead of all that rum.
Yes,
maybe.
Potentially.
But I would have needed the rum. So grade 7 history, we look at that topic, slavery in West Africa before the Europeans. And there's a lovely comprehension that we found. My Nigerian great-grandfather sold slaves.
Wow.
And this is a perspective from a woman who tells you that her great-grandfather did sell slaves. And what she really tries to argue is that how do we judge people like her grandfather who lived so many years ago under such different conditions? How do we judge them by today's standards?
Yeah, it's quite interesting that you're really introducing that idea of perspectives, not just from a sort of sideways, same people at the same time judging each other,
Totally,
but a temporal perspective.
Yes. And so we have this TLK, which is a private online discussion group where the children can either work in a whole class or small groups, and this can be opened up to discussion where they can have a discussion and feel safe.
And what's a great, I'm just thinking now, what would be a great idea would be to get, if another school was doing the same topic, invite those grade 7 learners onto this TLK.
Share the TLK with them too.
And I mean, you could literally, a school in KZN and a school in Cape Town and a school in Gauteng, and they could all be chatting.
And this is what we want in history,
Yes.
isn't it? To discuss the relevancy of things. Then Coach in the Class always saves you time. This video was 45 minutes and I chopped it. I think I used 3 parts of it, but I chopped it down. And you can see in this particular one, I used an Edpuzzle.
Fabulous. And so that provides an opportunity, to engage the learners, but also to have an assessment.
Continuous assessment. And the video itself was such an amazing video because it was an authentic man in wherever he was living, somewhere in East Africa. So he knew what was going down, and he's standing in one of the slave forts. So it was just such a cool, but it was too long.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And then this was understanding that the slaves were growing the tobacco, the sugar, the rice. And these were work cards that you could either use in Google Slides or you could print them and use them.
Okay.
But then you had to mind map the information in pairs or twos, I can't remember, in pairs or groups. And, you could use Babelas, which is a lovely, simple online program which works so easily to create your mind map and then from there make your own note. And what we were doing was teaching children to summarize information in a bubble or in a mind map to make their own note, because later on in the project they had to do their own note.
Yeah, so we, again, all the time we're developing those basic skills.
It's about skills.
To do the bigger projects and things that we want them to be able to do.
So there is also some other stuff available, Rob.
Yeah, so there's some grade 5 stuff in development at the moment. If you'll give us an extra few days
and
to finish that off,
because that's what we'll be doing in the holidays while you are reading your books and chilling.
So we're going to be finishing off those units, and you can look on our website, and they'll be up next week.
And we'll tell you about it, I'm sure, on the first Wednesday of next term, because we're not bothering anybody during the school holidays. But don't hesitate to go to our website, coachintheclass.co.za, and buy those units that are available, grade 5 next term, in a week's time.
Yeah, so the first half of those units will be available, and then we'll put up the rest as we complete them.
Because it's a lot of hard work creating those books, the lesson notes and the little audio videos that we do, but we love doing it.
And we love it when you use it and let us know how much you are loving it.
Which we've had quite a lot of feedback this term, which has been so rewarding. And that's why we're still at it. So have a lekker holiday, everybody.
Enjoy it, and we'll